I don't know if the Valorant player base at large is paying attention, but there are some big meta shifts going down in the EU pro scene right now. Who knows if these shifts will find their way into the ranked general population, but it could change the way the game is played for a long while. What is up, ProGuides family? It's your host, Sergeant Frost, and today we're talking about why VIPER has a 100% pick rate on certain maps in EU, and why she's seeing a lot more play everywhere recently. Let's not waste any more time, let's hop right into it. What's up, gamers and grinders? I hope you all are winning your ranked games and climbing the ladder. I wanted to let you guys know that we have a new Valorant course on our website written by the pro player Psalm from Team Dignitas. Psalm is known for having one of the greatest strategic and analytical minds in all of esports. In his course, he covers the tactical FPS fundamentals ranging from aim and movement to defaulting and round development. You will finish this new course with sharpened game knowledge, secrets from a pro player, and you'll have the right mindset to improve. Make sure when you purchase anything on our website, use the promo code FPS25 for a discount on anything you buy. If you have been paying attention to the pro scene recently in the European region, there have been some pretty interesting meta changes going on. And by big meta changes, I mean a very underpicked agent has been seeing a 100% pick rate on multiple maps. VIPER has been the talk of the town in the EU competitive region since the start of episode 2. After Icebox was released in Act 3, there has not been a set-in-stone meta for what is the best way to play that map. Recently, semi-pro teams in EU have been running VIPER on the map Icebox because of how powerful her wall and lineups are for attacking on that map. Slowly, as this trend began to grow, a lot of teams realized that VIPER is a viable pick on other maps as long as you plan how to use her effectively. After teams realized how good her kit can be if implemented properly, her play has expanded to other maps like Bind, Split, and Haven. VIPER has been underutilized for quite some time now within the Valorant pro scene meta. Hopefully, this realization that she can be an alternative to Brimstone and Omen means that she rises up in our tier list and finds herself in a good place within the ranked meta as well. As VIPER begins to rise in pick rate throughout the major regions in the world, you as a player certainly don't want to be left behind on this new trend. That's why we recommend our website ProGuides.com, where you can learn more about VIPER as an agent from our coaches and from our courses written by pro players themselves. Being up to date on all the new info about the meta and VIPER specifically can be the difference between you being stuck in your elo and moving up to Immortal and beyond. Don't waste any time. Head over to our website ProGuides.com and get the help that you need to give you the competitive edge over the rest of your server. So, you might ask, if VIPER had a sudden spike in popularity, how are they using her? Well, let's start this explanation by saying that VIPER was mainly used as a tool to cut off lines of sight on the map Icebox at first. But as teams realized how useful not only her wall was, but how useful her whole kit could be when implemented right, she has seen a major spike in popularity and has been getting picked on most maps in the competitive rotation. The main way VIPER has been used on Icebox is by allowing her wall to cut off lines of sight around the B bomb site. If you're standing in B green as VIPER, you can aim your wall in a way where when you deploy it, you can cut off B site, orange crates, kitchen, and snowmen with your wall. This prevents any of the defenders who are on the right side of her wall from seeing the attacker's movements as they flood into B site and plant the spike. In the past, Brimstone and Omen were the controllers used on this map, but Icebox is a map that was built with verticality and long lines of sight in mind, which meant that Omen and Brimstone didn't have enough smokes to cover the main lines of sight around B site and the mid area of the map. The same goes for A site. This site is slightly more closed off, but you have to consider that Rafters and Nest exists, which means that even after Brim and Omen have used their smokes, there is always a vertical spot that a defender can reach and use to look over those smokes. This caused a dilemma for a little while within the meta, where both Omen and Brimstone didn't feel like adequate smokers who could handle the job of putting down the smokes necessary to attack on Icebox. Now enter VIPER into the equation, and you now have an agent that can cut off all those crucial lines of sight needed to attack, and she has smokes, mollies, and one of the best post-plant ultimates in the game. VIPER has shown that when she is put into the hands of a player who knows how to use her, and you surround that player with a team comp that's built to support her, you have created one of the best attacking team comps in the game. Pro teams love using her wall to mind game opponents as well. On Bind, for example, many teams will put VIPER's wall down going through A site pre-round. From there, the team will go to B site slowly and activate her wall on A. This can cause the defenders to rotate early and give free map control to the attackers. Learning how to use VIPER's abilities to not only block off lines of sight, but to also mind game opponents and create chaos around the map is what she was designed for as an agent. Let's not forget that VIPER also has decay on her abilities, which means that you will lose HP the longer you stand in her wall, smoke, and ultimate. She also has a unique mechanic called fragility on her mollies, which means that you take double damage when the debuff is active. These nice attributes VIPER has in her kit also makes her a formidable defender as well. VIPER, like Killjoy, has some of the best sight denial tools in the game when you learn her one-way smokes and her molly lineups. Many teams, for example, will use VIPER's wall and smoke on Bind to completely cut off easy access to A site. VIPER can put her wall across the front of site and put her smoke in the doors of showers. While she's alive, the attackers will have quite the rough time trying to break in if she manages her fuel well and puts her abilities up at the right time. VIPER has proven to be a real threat both on attack and defense, and when she's put into a player's hands that knows how to pilot her, VIPER has the real potential to shine. Okay, let me start this section off by saying that VIPER holds a special place in my heart since the beta. She has been my highest win rate agent for 4 acts now, and she is one of my most picked agents as well. I know I've played a lot of other agents since the game's been out, such as Jet, Raze, Omen, and so on, but Viper and I have clicked on a different level, and it really shows in my KD and rank win rates with her. In my opinion, if you put in the time and work with her to understand her kit and how she should play on offense and defense, she can easily be S tier for someone who mains her and has decent experience with her. Viper is a great agent to main as you level up your skill and as you climb into higher elos. That's because of the power she has and the sheer scale of map control and fear she can exert in a match. A lot of people will say she is useless or needs the coordination and planning of an NFL football team in order to make her work, but I believe those people just don't play her or understand her kit enough to see what she truly brings to the table. In this multiple flash meta, she has more than enough of a reason to be running comps just because of her capability to shut down lines of sight and how powerful she got after her last buffs. At the end of the day, more Viper buffs are coming, as Riot has determined that now or in the future, they will make this agent meta. And there is no better time to start learning her than now because she's here to stay and will only become more viable and powerful over time. Before we go on, you guys know we couldn't continue without our question of the day. This is our favorite part of the video. With that being said, we have a great question today for you guys. Today's question is, now that an unpopular agent like Viper is shown to be useful within the meta, what other guns or agents do you think will pop up in the meta as surprisingly viable? In my opinion, this one is tough to call, but recently Sage and Sova have shown to be very useful in this meta, especially on defense. The Bucky and all the other shotguns have also taken over the meta as well in episode 2. So we have to wait and see what's next on the horizon as the meta is always constantly shifting. So what do you guys think? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Alright, let's not waste any more time, let's get right back into the video. The solo queue and rank meta has been going through a host of changes recently since the start of episode 2. So far this season, we have seen the addition of Yoru, the multiple flash meta, the attacker meta, the Sage Bucky meta, the run and gun meta, the new shotgun meta in general, and a host of other things that have changed around the meta as well. Competitive Valorant has been put through its paces in terms of meta shifts and in-game changes since the beginning of this year. So, how does Viper fit into all these meta shifts and changes? Honestly, it's still too close to call, as she's only really gained steam with a few teams in Europe in pro play in the past 30 days. NA pros can be very stubborn and set in their ways when it comes to adapting to new metas and changes within the game, as we all know. So, we don't know if the NA pros will immediately pick up on this trend as soon as the tournaments start back up this month. We have no idea what players on which teams will most likely be put on Viper duty, and we don't even know if any teams have practiced with Viper and are willing to give her a try. I think Viper is mainly a trend in EU right now, and the NA Valorant scene hasn't adopted her as a viable agent that should be put into their team's rotation. For NA solo queue, I still don't think Viper is a viable enough agent to be picked over the likes of Omen and Brimstone. They do the job of smoking way too well, and are too reliable at it without having too much strategy involved. Viper is definitely an agent that is worth picking up and learning on your own time though. Whether Riot decides to rework her later this year, or if they decide to just keep stuffing her with buffs to force her to become mainstream meta, Viper is an interesting agent for sure, and I think if you spend the time to learn the ins and outs with her, she can become an excellent agent to attack on in mid to high elos. If you look through our other videos on our YouTube, you will find plenty of other guides and videos on how to use Viper in solo queue. She isn't just an attacking monster either. If set up well, she can also be a lockdown defensive agent. Just put the time in to learn her, and I assure you your investment will see returns exponentially. Well, I hope you guys thoroughly enjoyed this explanation about why Viper is slowly becoming the meta in competitive Valorant. Let us know if you agree or think if we missed out on anything in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. To keep up to date with us, make sure to hit that bell notification which ensures you stay up to date with our videos and ahead of the competition. If you want to learn more about anything Valorant related, head over to ProGuides.com for the very best Valorant on-demand coaching. We pride ourselves on our talented coaches who are more than willing to help you with anything in your individual Valorant needs. And if that's not your style, make sure to check out our Discord. We have a great community where you can chat, hang out, and possibly find new people to play with. Stay tuned to our future videos and keep up the grind, ProGuides family. This is your host, Sergeant Frost, and I will see you all in the next one.